Around 3 months ago now, I started a Blackwater Biotope tank, and what that set into action is this series of events that showed me just how much life there can be in a tank with a botanical method. I thought I was just venturing into fish tanks with a tinted water, right? What I actually stumbled into is a self-sustaining ecosystem where you find new life every second day, bugs that you've never seen before in your fish tanks, processes and biological changes that you just don't get to see keeping freshwater fish in the normal environment. Something that happens in the breaking down of organic leaf litter creates this environment that not only filters your water, creates an awesome tannin look, but also sustains micro life. For about 2 months, I didn't even add anything to this tank, but there was mosquito larvae, which I know how they got in there. There was limpets. There was all these little detritus worms, bugs that I'd never seen before that are on my almond leaves and out of pine cones, creatures that wriggled under the substrate of the sand that I'd never seen before either, and I kind of hope to never see again. Little creatures that sort of zip around in the water that you know is just like an insect or a bug, but you'd never seen before. I somehow got ram's horn snails in there that I didn't put in. If you've got a Blackwater tank and you don't know what I'm talking about, I encourage you, sit in front of that tank just for 5 minutes and pay attention to the leaf litter and the bugs. I found some of the things that I put in there developed like a fur or a fuzz around them, which I thought was just like an ammonia sort of thing. But after a while, you almost realize it's like a biofilm that needs to be eaten away by something. And then all of a sudden, the bug spawns that needs to eat away at it, and it's eating away. I believe that this is all due to the fact that I was able to progressively put in new botanicals to the tank. And then after about that 2-month mark, I started to realize I'm getting lots of mosquito larvae and things floating around in the water column. And so I thought to myself to ask you guys, what should I add to the tank? We decided on German blue rams. So I found a balloon variety. They're called like neon blue German balloon rams or something crazy like that. This is the other fantastic thing that happened. I cranked the heat in that tank because that's what rams need, and the system changed again. Once I put the rams in, they did their job. They started feeding on the mosquito larvae and all the things in the tank. I didn't even need to feed these fish for 2 weeks after I put them in. They were still actively just smashing all of the worms and all of the bugs. Then after I noticed a change in the system, that's when I started feeding. After cranking the temperature, I noticed things broke down faster. Fungus grew more, biofilm grew more. And after I added the fish, there was no more mosquito larvae because every single time one would have spawned, rams move in such a cool fashion that it would have just smashed it. What this whole experience outlined to me, and what you should learn from it as well, is we're missing a massive part of our knowledge, which is we don't actually fully understand what happens in these ecosystems. And they're so complex that they can't be replicated in a glass box. But we're getting closer and closer to an understanding of what is actually going on out there. So my advice to you would be, if you've already got a Blackwater tank, try and progressively add tannins and organics to that tank and watch what changes. If you've got a lid on your tank, take the lid off and expose it to the outside environment. And try keeping hotter water fish in these environments, because a lot of places that will have a biotope like that tend to be warmer places as well. Obviously not all, but the Philippines, the Amazon, everywhere that really does have a wet season and fish that thrive in that environment is countries near the equator, which has a wet season and a dry season. So the water tends to be warmer. I hope to dive way deeper into the ecosystem side of this hobby. I'm about to move from Melbourne, Australia to Canberra, Australia. So I'm totally tearing down my fish room, only moving a few tanks over. I've got the opportunity to start a whole new fish room, and I'm gonna build it so much better this time with so much more diversity. So if you haven't already, hit the subscribe button to watch that journey happen.